Hello, I'm Bob McFarland, a software developer with Scripty Systems. This is the second in a two-part series regarding call sheets. I'll be your host as we continue taking a look at call sheets in Scheduler. Since this is the second part of a two-part series about working with call sheets in Scheduler, if you haven't watched Call Sheets Part 1, you really should go back and watch it. Also, be sure you've watched pretty much every other video we have available since most of them feed information to the call sheet. Alright, let's pick up where we left off. In Part 1, we covered how the information gets into the call sheet and that all-important update button. We also covered how you can save yourself a lot of time by copying information from the previous day's call sheet. And we covered the first three tabs: Strips, Sides, and Cast and Crew. So we're moving on to the Extras tab. Here is where you'll see the different extra types that are required based on the strips being shot on this day, and the actors that have been cast for each type. The background actors are cast using the Extras casting selection under the Participants menu. Learn more about that in the Casting and Actors video. You can see we are in need of 4 paramedics and 4 have been cast. When the extras are pulled into the call sheet, the actors that have been cast are placed into a time group. A time group is a group of the actors who need to be on set at the same time. You may have 100 party guests, but you only really need 50 of them on set at 8 a.m., and the other 50 aren't needed until 10:30. You can add multiple time groups and move the individual actors that you need into each group. First, though, I'll set the time for the first time group. Everything starts with the ready time. When do they need to be ready to shoot? You should enter that first. I'll enter 8 a.m. Notice the report pickup time was automatically set to 8 a.m. If the actors need to be prepared in any way, such as getting into costume, enter the prep minutes. I'll enter 60 and tab out of it. Notice the report pickup time is set for 7 a.m. I'll go ahead and select Report in the dropdown. If these actors are allowed leave or travel time, you can enter that as well. I'll enter 30 and press tab. And their leave time is calculated as 6:30 a.m. You can also enter a note or title for this group. That is a good idea, especially if you have more than one group. I'll enter this as the early bus. I'm also going to have a late bus, so I'll change the quantity to 2. Notice I get a warning. I need a total of 4 people, but I've only allocated 2 with this group, even though I have 4 actors cast. Let's add the other group. I'll click the plus button in the paramedics row, and a new time group row has been added. At the moment, it's a copy of the first one as far as the times go. I'll fill in the info. Okay, that's all set. Now all I have to do is drag actors from the first group into this new group, like this. Now we have the correct number of actors in each group. And to delete a group, just click the trash can. After confirming the deletion, the group is removed and the actors are returned to the first group. This is also the place where you'll come to enter the actor's actual time and other information such as their contract sign date. Just double-click on the actors row or click the circle with the arrow in it, like this. To enter the contract sign date, click the button and select the date and save it. You can enter their in and out times, and you saw how to enter bumps in Call Sheets Part 1. I'll just cancel. In addition to the time groupings, you can also enter notes for extra types. Just click the note icon like this. Look familiar? I won't bore you with the details that you already watched in the Part 1 video. I'll just quickly add a note. And there's our note. And of course, if you need to delete a note, click the trash can and confirm the delete. And like the notes in the Production and Crew tab, you can arrange them into the order you want them. Oh yeah, double-click a note or click the circle with the arrow to edit the note. Alright, let's go to the next tab, Elements. This tab is easy. It simply lists all the elements that were added, grouped by the affected department. You can see that I have only one element for today, and it's in the Property department. Below the element itself is a list of the strips where it's referenced. And of course, those are strips that are being shot on this day. You can open a strip by double-clicking on it or clicking the circle with the arrow. And there is our element in the Property department of the strip. If I click on the element here, notice that Shrouded Stretcher is underlined in the script. That indicates that the stretcher dummy is needed for the shrouded stretcher. I'll close the strip so we can move on to the next tab. Much like with elements, special equipment can be added to strips. Then, they're pulled in from the strips for the day and displayed here. You can see that a crane was added to the camera department in one of the strips. You can double-click it to enter the time it's needed on set. You may find that someone requested 3 cranes, but you know the budget will only allow for 1, so you can override the requested quantity here as well. And I'll click Save. You may get to this point and realize you're going to need some other piece of special equipment that wasn't added to any strips. You can do that here by clicking the plus button for the applicable department. If the item doesn't apply to any specific department, we have a department for that. I'll scroll to the bottom of the list and you can see a new category, Non-Departmental Special Equipment. Add the item here if it doesn't apply to any specific department. Maybe some actor's massage table or something like that. Or would that fall into the medic department? Not sure. Let's say you've decided at the last minute that you want to get some overhead shots with a drone. Let's add a drone to the camera department. I'll click the plus button for the camera department. I'll check the drop-down to see if I have a drone in there. I don't, so I'll type it in and press Tab. Since drone is not in the list, it asks if I want to add it. I'll click Yes. I'll set the report pickup to pickup and the time for 8 a.m. and click Save. If I want to make changes, just double-click on it. Make the changes and click Save. I'll just click Cancel. And like many things, you can rearrange the order of the items in the list by dragging them around like this. And finally, to remove an item selected in the list, click the trash can and confirm that you want to delete it. You're probably getting that by now. Let's move to the Locations tab. You can see that we really have two things under this tab, the actual shooting locations and on-set notes. If you have multiple locations for the day, they'll be in order based on the order of the applicable strips in the strip board. Double-click a location to view and edit the details. On-set notes are for things like where to park the trucks and makeup trailers. To add an on-site note, click the plus button. You can select from the list of items, or if what you're looking for is not in the list, you can add it to the list by typing it in, then pressing Tab. You'll be asked if you want to add it. I'm going to click No and pick something from the list. Then I'll add the note. And click Save. And of course, to edit a note, double-click it. I'll just cancel. And if you have more than one note, you can rearrange them by dragging them around. You've seen that enough times already, so I won't do it again. Okay, let's move on to transportation notes. These will show up in a special section of the call sheet. Click the plus button to add a note. The same things apply for these notes as other notes. Delete by selecting and clicking the trash can and rearrange by dragging and dropping. You know what I mean. Okay, onward and upward to attachments. The first thing you'll notice is a big long note about standard call sheet attachments. Maybe you have safety bulletins or other notices like that that you need to send out with every call sheet. You can add those to the project preferences. Let's take a look. I'll click the Scheduler menu, then Project Lists, then Standard Attachments. Notice there's a drop-down for the type. Currently, we only have one type, and that is for call sheets. We've set it up this way to allow for future additions. Now I can add any standard attachments such as PDFs, images, and so on. To add an attachment, click the plus button. I'll type in a description. Then, to grab the PDF, just click the folder and select it. Then save it. It's been added to the list with an icon for the type of file. Click on the icon to view the document or image. It will open along with the attachment edit window and a message telling you that if you make any changes to the document, save it, then come back to this window and click the Save button to pull in the revised document. I'll just close the PDF, click OK on the pop-up, then click Cancel on the edit window to close it. And I'll close the Standard Attachments window as well. Now that attachment will be included with every call sheet in this project. You can add additional attachments just for this day by clicking the plus button here. Go through the same procedure to add your attachment. I'll just cancel for now. Okay, not far to go on the tabs. Let's move on to the Header/Footer tab. You can enter a note that will appear in the header of this call sheet along with weather information. You can also add one or more footnotes. And you'll notice the long message about standard footnotes. Just like with attachments, you can add standard footnotes that will appear in the footer of every call sheet. Let's take a look. I'll click the Scheduler menu, then Project Lists, then Standard Notes. The same thing applies as the standard attachments. Select what the notes are for, then click the plus button to add notes. I'll click Save to add it to the list, and like with attachments, you can add multiple notes, then arrange them in the order you like by dragging them around. And of course, delete a note by selecting it in the list and clicking the trash can. Alright, I'll close this window. So those notes will always appear in the footnotes of all of the call sheets. And you can add any footnotes specific to this day by clicking the plus button over here. I'll type the note and save it. And that's it. Okay, we finally reached the last tab. Told you there was a lot to the call sheet. This is the Production tab, but it has 4 subtabs. The first one is for the official times for the day. Usually the script supervisor will provide the official times, so all you have to do is fill them in. All right, let's go to the next tab, the Production Notes. These will appear in the Production Report. You've seen how to add notes numerous times, so I'll move on to the next tab. The Script tab is a place to add information for your production report as to how much you got done on this day. Some of this info will also come from the Script Supervisor. Then finally, the last tab is for Script Notes. These will be notes obviously related to the script and will appear in the production report for the day. Once you have all the info entered, you're ready to produce an actual call sheet. Scheduler is set up to allow you to have multiple versions of your call sheet as you gather more information and tweak it. In the upper right is your list of versions. To add a version, you guessed it, click the plus button. The version window opens and you can see that there is a place for the version title, any notes you may want to enter regarding the status of this version, a list of approvals, and a place to select a background color for the pages. I'll start by entering a title. Next, I'll pick the color by clicking the color box. I'll select yellow and close the color selector. In the approvals list, we have two types of people in the list. The first is the script supervisor who's been flagged as a call sheet reviewer. This means he can enter notes after reviewing the call sheet, but they are not required. In this case, if Tony was using this app, a notes button would be visible so he can click it to enter his notes. Then we have Wanda flagged as a call sheet approver. She would also use the app to approve the call sheet. In an approver's case, however, if the user is the file owner or a schedule manager or in the paperwork role, they can enter the approval on Wanda's behalf. A checkbox will be visible. Click it to approve the call sheet. Before the call sheet is approved, if you generate the PDF, it will be marked as preliminary. I'll generate it to show you. You can see here it's marked as preliminary. All right, I'll close it and you can see that a PDF icon has appeared on the left. Click at any time to open the PDF you just generated. Now I'll go ahead and approve it on behalf of Wanda. I'll click the check mark and the account login window opens. You'll be required to log into your account in order to verify your identity. If the login is successful, the record is marked as approved by entering the name of the user who approved it. That way, for the record, you know whether Wanda approved it or someone else entered the approval on her behalf. These roles are set up in the person's record when they're added to the unit. Check out the production and crew video for more info on that. Once the call sheet's been approved, you'll want to regenerate it so that it will show the version instead of preliminary. I'll go ahead and do that. It tells me it's going to overwrite the previously stored PDF. I'll click Yes, then OK in the printer pop-up. The PDF is regenerated and it now shows the version. While we're here, I'll scroll down to the second page so you can see what it looks like. Here are the notes I added in the production department. You can generate some call sheets and check out the details when you start your project. I'll close the PDF for now. Notice this new button that has appeared. Once the call sheet has been approved, you can now distribute it. I'll click it. A note pops up telling me how many copies I need to print and how many will be emailed, and that a distribution list will be printed so you know who to get copies to. Whether someone gets a paper copy or an email is determined by the selected communication method for each person. Check the Participants menu, then Production and Crew. Oh, and don't forget the cast. The actors have the same options. The PDF is open so you can print the number of copies you'll need. Then behind it is the printer dialog. I'll click OK, and here's our distribution list. Now I'll click on the Mail app, and here's the email ready to be sent. Apple doesn't allow apps to send emails, so you'll just need to click the Send button. I'll close down the PDFs in the call sheet window so we can see what the result is. The list now has the little pencil note thing so you can click it to quickly open the PDF. And you can see the green dot indicating that it's been approved. If you need to delete a version, what do? You click it in the list and click the trash can. Verify you want to delete it and it'll be deleted. I'll just click No. I think you're now ready to build, configure, manage, produce, and distribute call sheets. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.